bit about us and what we do, and you'll all get a chance to pet them and hug them and feed them carrots. So that'll be Rojo also likes to wander, so he might do his own thing.
He's got a great smile.
Yeah. So llamas and alpacas come from South America, from the really tall Andes Mountains in Peru, Bolivia, Chile, all the way down to Argentina. As you can see, llamas are larger than alpacas. Rojo is even short for a llama. They usually come another foot taller. And they're classified by their hair type. So they have a light wool, medium wool, and heavy wool. Rojo is considered more of a heavy wool llama. He'd probably be right between medium and heavy. He just has so much hair on his body. And because llamas are larger, they're used as pack animals. They've been domesticated for the same amount of time as horses have been, so about 4,000 to 6,000 years. And they can carry about a third of their weight when they've been trained to be a pack animal. So if they weigh between 350 and 450 pounds, a lot of people will put about a pack of 100 pounds on their back to go camping with or hiking with. Yeah, he hums. He's just a show stealer. The other cool thing about llamas is when you train a llama to backpack, you can actually attach the lead rope of another llama to their backpack. So if you want to carry this lead rope here, you can have this llama have another lead rope attached to his backpack and another llama attached to that backpack. So you can have 300 pounds of weight while only carrying this. So it's very fantastic. A lot of people love to use their llamas for packing. They're also really smart, intelligent, and they're very protective. Have you heard the rumor that llamas spit? Yeah. They're related to camels. Llamas and alpacas can both spit, and you can train them just like how you train a pet dog not to bite. You can train your pet llamas and alpacas not to spit. So they're very naturally very territorial, really prefer their personal boundary space, and they like to protect their pasture space. So if you put a llama in with a herd of goats or sheep, they'll actually protect them from coyotes and even mountain lions. I've also heard stories of llamas taking on bears before. So if a coyote were to come into the pasture, llamas typically, they'll run with their head all the way down to the ground. You want to show? He'll run with his head down to the ground, and he'll put his head under the coyote's body and then flip him in the air. They have very strong necks. And so hopefully that coyote gets the picture and leaves. So they are a very wide variety of personalities, just like dogs. Some are very work-oriented, some are very lazy and lovable, and that's what we look for, lazy and lovable. And I'll get to that in a second. And as you can see, Napoleon is smaller. He's an alpaca. You can tell the difference by looking at their ears if you're looking at a llama or an alpaca. Llamas have these banana-shaped ears. They're curved in like bananas. That's the actual technical name, banana-shaped ears. Alpacas have what look like A-shaped ears. They look like A's for alpaca. So if you're ever wondering if you're looking at a baby llama or a full-grown alpaca, look at their ears. Alpacas are smaller, and they've been bred like sheep to produce hair and really thick fiber. It's actually very thin, but it's very dense. So Napoleon, before June, his body, no, I'm not asking you to say, was about as fluffy as his tail. Do you see how fluffy his tail is? His body would be like from his cheeks all the way down if you let it grow out. And so he produces 3 times more hair on his body than the llama. So that's why we shave 3 times more of it off of his body to keep him cool in the summertime. Napoleon here does not actually have a good enough quality of hair. Just like all things, they range in quality. So Napoleon's hair you wouldn't necessarily want to turn into yarn. It wouldn't be very luxurious because it has very coarse fibers throughout. But most alpacas, that's what they're used for. You shave them off and then you turn their hair into yarn and make socks and sweaters and scarves and all sorts of wonderful things. Their hair is actually lighter in weight, it's hollow, it's water resistant, and it's hypoallergenic. So it doesn't have the sheep lanolin that wool has. It's just very nice and soft. Yes, do you have a question? Oh, thank you. I read those books. I'll get into those in a second too. But we don't use our llamas for packing. We're guarding, although I'm sure they naturally do that, and we don't use our alpacas for their hair. What my family got into raising llamas 17 years ago. We moved from a neighborhood here in Tigard, Oregon, up to Ridgefield, or up to Vancouver, Washington, and got 2.5 acres. And we were looking for the right kind of animal that would fit our family's needs and mow our lawn for us. And so my mom drove past the sign. I was begging her for a horse, but she drove by a sign that said Llama Affair, and it was like a llama show, and she was like, that sounds weird. And so she went and checked it out, and she came rushing home, and she said, Shannon, come with me right now. And I got to meet my first baby llama. It wasn't Rojo. It was a llama named Cusco. And at the age of 12, I was really excited. It was named after the Emperor's New Groove. And so, yeah. And so we joined the youth program 4-H, and I got to borrow a llama from my 4-H leader. So I got to learn what it was like to train a llama and care and raise for one before we ever bought our own. So that way we could know what their personalities were like that we wanted to get, how to properly have the conditions that we need to house him. They're also herd animals, so you can't just have one llama. You should have maybe 2 or 3 or 5. Oh. We now have 13. We now have 6 llamas and 7 alpacas because we're slightly addicted. But, or obsessed, I don't know, fine line. But Rojo was my first llama. After that first year of 4-H, we went llama shopping, as you do. It's kind of like shoe shopping, but for llamas. And we found Rojo and fell in love. He was only 3 months old and just a doll and followed us around like a little puppy dog. And so we were hooked. So we bought him, and then in the 6-month time it took for us to wait for him to get weaned from his mom, we could find 2 others. So when he came to our farm, we had 3. And so Rojo was my 4-H animal, and what that looked like was I would work with him and train him and take him in parades and take him in like some of Portland's biggest parades ever since he was a baby, and he loved all the attention from birth. And then I'd take him to our county fair, and we'd compete in all different types of competitions, from like fit and show, like you would with a horse or a dog, even with obstacle competitions, so things that you'd encounter if you walked on a trail. We also did another obstacle competition called public relations obstacles, which is what you would encounter if you came inside human-related areas, so like walking on carpet, having balloons fly around, people touching them all over. The only thing Rojo ever excelled at was the public relations obstacles. He doesn't like to back or to jump or to do anything with rigorous activity. But if you wanted to come over and walk from behind and come over and just give him big hugs, you can do that. Other llamas don't like all that personal touching. To give a great demonstration of what a real animal kind of looks like, can I borrow you? I know. I always ask him to sit down, so he thinks that's what I'm doing. I'll just back you up. But if you watch Napoleon, alpacas and llamas are very head shy, so they don't like a lot of fast movement by their faces. You can see he's not a fan of it. But like Rojo, you can do anything, and actually he likes his eyes rubbed. So after 5 years of showing Rojo at the county fair through 4-H, we heard about an animal hospital here in Portland that could certify him for therapy, potentially. They had never had a therapy llama come through, but they did do like goats and bunnies and even like I think chickens. I don't know. But we heard about them and I thought that would be really cool. And in days of hearing about this, my mom had an encounter with a little boy in a wheelchair, and he had no hands or feet and no hair. And his mom asked if the boy could pet Rojo. And she goes, of course. And so the mother pushed her boy into Rojo's hair, and he twirled his arm in his hair, and it light up, and he goes, Mom, I pet a llama, I pet a llama. So by the next year, we got Rojo certified. He went through all the certifications with flying colors. We had to sit in a 6-hour-long classroom and do all different types of testing with him to see how predictable he would be in all different types of environments. And he was just as cool as a cucumber. So we've been sharing him as a therapy llama for 12 years now. We go regularly on over 100 therapy and educational visits inside assisted living and memory care, hospice. We do a lot with special needs groups, whether that's adult daycares or special needs classrooms. Kids get to pet him and walk him. If you put a carrot in your mouth, he'll kiss you, and it's very fun and very bonding. We do a lot of college visits as well, where kids or people during finals weeks can come and hug a llama to kind of de-stress during the wirings of finals. And so my mom and I have been doing that for 12 years, mainly her for 8, and then I joined full-time 4 years ago. And it's kind of transformed our lives. We had no idea that this would be a big thing. So we have 13 llamas and alpacas, or we have 6 llamas, 7 alpacas, and 5 of them are really social animals that we rotate with for different types of visits. So just this morning I had another alpaca named Jean-Pierre out at a kids' summer camp. And so we kind of let them all have breaks. We kind of go off the farm all the time. Yeah. Are there any cool questions about llamas and alpacas and what we do? Yeah.
Do the llamas and alpacas hang out on the farm, or do they just stay with their
Yeah, they all commingle. I do feel as though they like to relate to each other based on the same age group, because they kind of relate maturity-wise. So we have some younger alpacas. They're about 3 now. Rojo will not tolerate them coming within any sort of vicinity of his personal boundary space. He will charge them out of the way. But like Napoleon can hang out in his space. He has another best friend, Smokey the llama, who's in the same age group. He's also 17, and so they get along really well too. It's fun to try and see because we take them in our van. They don't have a horse trailer. They ride in the van with us, and so it's kind of fun to see. You have to really tell your animals' personalities because not all of them like to be in such a small, tight quarters with another. So it takes a little bit of bonding just with the animals. So if you want to take 2 off the farm at a time. There's a pecking order, there's a hierarchy. And when you go to feed them too, like when it comes to spitting, they're trained not to spit at us, but they'll spit at each other. To see who's alpha. You won't do that today because they're not gonna fight today. But on the farm, you have to feed them in their own troughs. And they'll maybe have 2 or 3 llamas to a trough, and they'll only allow certain ones to eat from their trough. Rojo does not share his. He can claim any of them, and that is Rojo's trough. And he will move from trough to trough, and all the animals will run away.
He's the alpha.
He is the alpha. He's also a herd of 1. He just does whatever he wants to do. When you see him in the pasture, he is a solo guy. He is over just basking in the sunshine, and everybody else will be like hanging out. So he's really funny like that.
One thing I wondered, I was watching Rojo's ears, and they laid back and then they came forward and they laid back, and I wondered if you've interpreted what that means, when his ears go back or when they come forward.
Yeah, a lot of times his ears go back when he's really like mellow, relaxed, just kind of chilling out. When his ears are up, that means that he's actually alert and attentive. He's actually paying attention to something. Because they're very visually stimulated and socially stimulated. If there's not a lot of visualization going on, he'll kind of relax and just kind of check out a little bit. So he's kind of had like a week off. We've been at the county fair all week, and he didn't join for the first time in 16 years. He's an old man. And so he might just be really eager to be like here. I know he was like walking himself to the gate when I put him. He was like, is it time to go? So he's like really happy to be here. So his ears are gonna be up more. Yeah, normally they're kind of back and just relax.
Can you talk a little bit more about their fame? Because I just saw that they were in Parade magazine.
Oh yeah, yeah. Gosh, you know we over the last 10 years we've just been really really popular. We've been in Oprah magazine. We've been on CNN's Vital Signs with Sanjay Gupta. We've been on Nat Geo Wild. Animal's Best Friend?
Unlikely Animal.
Unlikely Animal Friends, thank you. We've been in Oprah Magazine. So Rojo here is somewhat of a celebrity. He, thanks to social media, he has about 28,000 followers on Instagram and about 14,000 on Facebook. And so, I mean, there's not so many. There are quite a few llamas that do therapy work in the country. It's just nice having a younger generation savvy, super social media person that can help showcase what we do. But my mom was really good. When she very first started taking our animals off the farm, she's just a photogenic, like she's a photographer through and through. So she just takes smile, everyone's smiling around Rojo and interacting, and she would take all these hundreds of pictures every time we went off the farm, and she'd put them on Facebook so people could download them, especially when it came to going inside adult care communities. Sometimes those are the last photos we ever had of people. A lot of their loved ones really appreciated seeing their family members, their parents smiling with joy. And so that was really big. That really launched a lot. People would follow Rojo for those reasons. But just Rojo's kind of a big celebrity. So with that, I published 2 children's books, 30, about Rojo. In 2015, when I quit my job and joined my mom full time, I was going over his story because I was hoping to get on Ellen. And so I just constantly go over like my interview with Ellen, as you do, when driving around. And when I was thinking about how I relay Rojo's story to her and just how important it is to me, I thought of the words to his first book. So I wrote them down, I emailed them to some trustworthy friends, and I said, hey, does this sound like a children's book to you that like, I don't know, what we could be proud of? And they were like, yes, absolutely. So I published The Perfectly Imperfect Llama in 2016 based on Rojo's story of how I became a therapy llama. And because Rojo is like short and fat and he has like a crooked back. And like when I take him to the fair, he get made fun of by all the other llama people. But they didn't see what he did. Like we would go to the fair and they would make fun of him. These people I only see once a year, and they would just like ridicule. And then I'd go out and I'd go into like a school or an adult care, and it would just people would be fawning over him. They didn't realize like how perfect he really is outside the llama community. So he's like perfect in their world. Yeah.
How many of your llamas or alpacas are certified?
Just 2 were certified. Lewis only did the certification. They discontinued the certification program in 2000, and so they got certified in 2007. So they discontinued it around 2010. And so that forced us to create our own LLC and create our own insurance. So we had about 3 to 4 years of being in the community and raising our own reputation. And then we formed our own LLC in 2011 and then a nonprofit in 2013. So that way we could continue doing what we were doing.
So you only have 2 that do therapy?
No, we have lots that do therapy. We do about 5 that we rotate with, but only 2 went to the certification originally through Doug Lewis. Like Napoleon here, he never went to the certification, but he's been a therapy alpaca with our farm for almost 8 years. The issue is that there's not a lot of any other things that do certifications or registrations. There is a nationwide entity that does registrations for therapy llamas, but they don't approve of the fact that our animals wear diapers. And we dress up our animals and we feed them treats when we go off the farm, and we take photos of everybody. And these are all things that we find are very therapeutic in nature. One, a lot of people don't know a lot about llamas and alpacas, so the fact that they're communal pottiers, fun fact. So they prefer to go to the bathroom in the exact same spot every time, and they're triggered by the smell to go to the bathroom. So for Rojo, that's in the van. I can jump him in the van and he'll go within 5 minutes, within 2. Napoleon will hold it the whole time until he gets home, and then he'll like run up to his potty pile and he'll go. Which is great, because if you have a pasture, you can walk around barefoot and know exactly where to step and not to step, because they have the same piles. But places like the hotels that we go into and the adult care communities that we go to, they didn't feel comfortable, especially 12 years ago when no one knew anything about llamas or alpacas, to just let him wander around not covered.
That's so common.
Yeah. So we also started dressing up our animals. We would dress them up for parades, as at Christmas time they're reindeer. And so my mom was at a nursing home talking about how Rojo was a reindeer in the local holiday parade. And they were like, that sounds like so much fun. Will you bring him dressed up next time? And she goes, oh, of course. And so she did, and everyone just lit up. And so she went to the craft store and saw Valentine's Day heart headbands. And she goes, maybe Rojo needs a Valentine's Day outfit too. And then the passion started. So they had fall like outfits for every season and holiday. And that way those who get regular visits, it's a different outfit every time. We started hearing that like Dawn only leaves her room to see what Rojo's wearing. Or sometimes we hear people say he's pretty when they haven't spoken in 3 months. So it also helps with such a large animal to get a sense that, oh, they're a pet. The second you see him all dressed up, you know he's not just a traditional farm animal, he's someone's pet. So yeah, we hope to one day have our own certification program, work with another trainer that's outside of our farm to help, create a new platform, because a lot of people are looking for alternatives that are a little bit more personable, that do
How about people with PTSD?
Mm-hmm.
You do some of that work for them?
We work with everybody. Right now, all of our visits are off of the farm. We go inside all the facilities. We're hoping to transition that next year to do a lot more on the farm and work with people on a regular basis.
Oh,
so they can get studies
Shan,
done.
he's got his thing in his mouth.
Oh, good. Thanks. But right now it's a lot of just like 1-time or 2-time visits in the year. But yeah, we work with people of all different types. Rojo. Yes.
I wonder, you mentioned that you left your whatever career you had to join your mom in doing this work. How many people do you have working to maintain and run a therapy practice?
Us.